I'm Nolly.
Bo.
And welcome back to Internet Proverb. Fari, hi.
Hey.
So we thought we would continue with the conversation we started last week, looking at kind of dating and kind of the expectations around dating. If you've not seen that video, if you haven't heard our definitions of dating and kind of the general one that we're all working on, pause, rewind, and check it out. I love that you got involved with that, Fari.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, so I think we should just dive straight into it.
So just a quick recap as well. Just the beautiful and talented Internet Proverb, aka Fari, is a single A. Any eligible young bachelor?
Oh no.
Yeah, there we go.
You guys didn't say that this is what this was.
I mean, asking us questions about dating, so so what's your star sign?
Oh my gosh.
Oof, God forbid. God forbid.
So we know that Fari has a few questions that she wanted to ask us as a married couple and as a datee, someone who obviously would like to find.
So datee or dater? Or both?
Both.
Someone hoping to find a relationship, love, and hopefully one day get married. We claim
we're not
to
experts.
Be no experts, but being married for nearly 7 years must carry some weight.
Being together for nearly.
I mean, that's a long time.
We at least know how to date one person.
And you've been through one pandemic together as well.
Yeah.
And
survived with a child.
Yeah.
And everybody loves each other still.
Yeah, that's deep.
Wow.
Because I've heard of so many marriages that have broken down in lockdown.
People we know personally.
Yeah.
Which is.
I never looked at it that way. Never looked at it.
It's a lot. Honestly.
I feel like we need to have a moment of silence, but I feel like that's really
pour one out for the homies.
I feel like that I'm not mocking. I'm really not mocking anyone, but I really felt like we needed a moment to pause.
No, honestly, yeah.
Anyway, let's not dwell on it, but we are very aware that there are some marriages and relationships that have broken down kind of in the pandemic, due to the pandemic and that sort of stuff. So we do not take our relationship, our marriage lightly, but we thought it'd just be helpful to have a conversation or answer some questions from someone who is dating and has been dating for a while, and maybe, I don't know, our answers might help you.
And we also hope that because more often than not, people will go to some, like either their peers or someone who's the same gender as them. So our advice is going to come from
both of us
as a unit and us as individuals.
Yeah.
What you got?
Yeah, I was going to say, and without further ado.
Well, first of all, I do just want to say, you guys aren't that much older than me, but I've obviously grown up seeing your relationship, which is beautiful.
That's nice.
I love romance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So seeing you guys.
It's so crazy.
It's beautiful.
Wow, because we've known you since you were like high school, right?
16.
16.
Yeah.
That's so hectic.
Like
gosh,
11 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, don't give the maths away.
Come on. Do math.
2 + 2 is 4. -1, that's 3. Quick maths.
Whoa. And was that correct?
Was
that correct?
How many years did you say?
11. No. Is it?
I mean, it depends on how old you want to say you are. No, it's not 11 because you're not 27.
I don't know why I said that with such confidence.
And it just felt that long.
I didn't want to correct you. I was like, if you identify as a 27-year-old, that's
no. That's not the road we're going down.
But we've known you for a while, is basically what
that's what I was trying to say. Yeah. I feel like I took away from what I was trying to say. So sorry.
It's okay.
Anyway,
Yeah.
let's get back.
Okay.
Get back to it. I have some questions, guys. You know, I feel like as someone I'm not necessarily dating right now, but the time comes and goes. It's very fleeting, right? When the time does come, I want to get it right. So what kind of questions do you think are good to ask on a first date? Like, what information do you think is important to try and get out of someone, and how do I get that information out of them?
I think you should answer first. Only because I think you're very good at stuff like that. Like that. the question that she wants an answer to, you're good at coming up with the questions that she's looking for. And then I'm going to respond as the male person that you would be asking those questions.
Okay. I mean, let me just put a disclaimer there that my personality and my stance in this department is very rigid.
Nolly does not ramp.
And
she does not play.
And so actually, even just before I articulated that, I was thinking there's actually merit in being direct in these situations, actually, because skirting around a topic, being unsure or seeming to be unsure can also send a signal or a message. And so I think it's okay to be direct, because then at that point, the guy can either go, yeah, no, you're a bit too much for me. No, thanks. Or go, oh, okay, she knows what she wants. And so I can't play around. I can't, I need to get serious because if I want to pursue her. And so I say that off the bat because I'm like, okay, do I like you? Do you like me? If both of us don't have a thing towards each other, I think it's pointless. So that's what I'm saying. Exactly. It's very set for me. I do not have wiggle room. And so I don't know if it's going to be helpful to hear that from me.
I think it will be, because you guys are very similar in that regard.
Okay. And so going back to your question, what sort of questions would be good to ask on, did you say a first date or during the dating process?
So the initial phase, let's say.
The initial phase. How long ago was your most recent relationship?
Damn. Okay.
What led to the breakdown?
Oof.
Why are you laughing?
Just continue. I have answers to all of those.
Yeah. How long was your relationship? What led to the breakdown? What brought you back to the dating scene? Because the answer to that will hopefully help you decide whether this person is right for you. Because if the guy is like, oh, I've been out of dating for a while and I just thought, let me just get back into it. You're not giving me any solid information here. Is it for fun? Are you wanting to settle down? Is it a test drive? What is this? It's like, girl, I told you I'm direct. And I feel like there'll be some people watching this guy. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think those three are really important, because how long your last relationship was. So if a guy is like, yeah, I was with someone for 10 years, that's a long time. That's a long time, firstly. And actually the duration or the length of the relationship will hopefully signify that they've done some growing in it as well. And so, wow, that's the hope, that they've grown and they've discovered a bit of themselves, what they like, what they don't like. What led to the breakup, that will be vital too, because depending on how he answers, if it's like, if it's all to do with the girl, you're not taking responsibility, because there's something that you would have done at some point.
Yeah,
I feel that might have led to some of the outward exhibits of the things that have led to the breakdown. Does that make sense? And then hearing where they're at now, what do they want? Why are they back in the dating scene? I think will then help to hopefully give you some direction of whether you want to pursue it or not. I'm intrigued, because my first two responses you had very sharp reactions to.
Okay, so here's the thing. If a guy is trying to get He's going to do whatever he can to get in those jeans. So direct questions are good, and I would encourage that, and hopefully it will encourage the person to be open and direct. However, if their agenda is less than honorable, they will say whatever they need to get into.
But I feel like you'll still be able to figure it out when that is happening, because they'll take a few seconds or a few whatever. No, okay, wow.
Not if they know what they're doing.
Okay.
No, that's very true. You know what? I have noticed when guys are motivated, they are very, very talented creatures. It's sickening.
And nothing
honestly.
Motivates more than the booty.
Definitely. But I do agree that asking those questions, it's good to have that conversation anyway, just to say that you've done your part to have that conversation. So I definitely agree. I agree with both of you. It's so interesting hearing both perspectives at the same time.
So yeah, I think those are good questions. In an ideal world, you should get decent responses. Slight pushback to if the guy is laying it all on the girl's fault. It might have been, because I was in a relationship for a year and a half, maybe 2, with someone who was really manipulative and really controlling, like to the point where she was threatening suicide if I broke up with her. Like she was cray. So me breaking up with her was 100% her fault. So just throwing that caveat out there. But I think it's, man, guys are, we're very simple, but we can also be complicated. Because asking those questions could scare a guy off, not necessarily because he has ill intentions, but it might not be something he's thought about to that extent. That doesn't mean that that isn't stuff that he will think about and will eventually get around to feeling, if that makes sense. So I think still hold on to those questions. You're going to have to trust your gut and your discernment as to how to phrase them. Because sometimes it's the phrasing that would be like, whoa, she just went straight for the jugular. And you might be talking to a guy who's a bit like soft-spoken and not direct, but still he's honest, but not direct. He might be super British. You know, British people are just kind and polite. Like you bump into them and they apologize kind of thing. So those are very good questions to keep. And my advice is to go through all the possible permutations of those questions.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Definitely. Just be apt with it.
Cool.
No, I get it. Okay. Well, I have another question. If he doesn't pay for me on the first date, does that mean he doesn't like me? If he says, let's go halves, what does that mean?
I think if you had asked this question 5 to 10 years ago, then maybe the answer might have been yes. But I feel like there has been a lot of progression, especially in this department. Strong Black women, let's be equal partners in this relationship.
Black girl magic.
And so I don't think it's often, I don't feel like it is now. I don't feel like it's indicative of a lack of interest or likability. What do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree, because and it also depends on the way the guy is coming from, because you might be going on a date with someone who has in the past consistently paid and been burnt. And I know there's some guys who will actually, they're testing the waters to see if she's willing to go halves, then I know she's not in it just to be, to be gold digger or whatever.
Yeah.
But conversely, it's okay for you to want to be wined and dined. So again, like, what is your stance on it? How do you feel about paying halves?
It's crazy because even as you've just said, like you want to be wined and dined, a guy will do that just to get a particular thing from you. So sometimes it doesn't matter,
And I've even heard guys say, if the bill comes and she reaches for it, then she's a real one.
Mm.
Ah,
Too much. Too much.
It's too much.
Honestly, it's like there are rules and there are no rules, and
Mm.
you know. Interesting. I don't know. I do think that for the most part, I think it depends how he goes about it. Because if he just looks like he has no interest in being chivalrous,
Mm.
like if he has that type of, I don't know, emotional intelligence where he knows that that would come across a certain way and he doesn't do it, I think I'd maybe in the back of my mind feel like, oh, maybe that's him showing me that he's not really interested. He doesn't want to take this further.
Mm.
okay.
So I think it depends on the type of guy.
Mm-hmm.
But then, maybe he's doing his job. I'm doing my job, and we're both broke.
Hey man.
Listen,
Hey man.
and that goes
It's
back
life.
to me being direct, because would you rather a guy pays for you and then when you're on your way home you see him walking because he doesn't have bus fare?
Walk.
I mean, some people might find that romantic.
I want to see you walk home.
Yeah. So, and even because even like the whole concept of chivalry nowadays, like there's a big pushback on it. Like, I'm independent. I don't need a man to do this. I don't need a man to do that, which is fine. You don't need a man. But if you want to be with a man, you're going to have to need him a little bit, because we like to feel needed. Like, there's so much stuff that Nolly can do by herself that I have taken upon myself to do for her, because I'm like, you know what, she's my queen, so she's not going to be doing that kind of stuff. Like, I know if push came to shove, she could take care of everything to do with the car by herself. But if I'm home, she's not taking care of that stuff by herself. If I'm home, it's, as far as I'm concerned, it's her job to just kick back and relax. I'll go change the tire, whatever it is. Does that make sense? But I know, like there's a lot of pushback. Like, oh, why you doing that for her? Is you saying that you don't think she can do it? I'm like, no, I'm saying that I believe that she deserves to be waited on hand and foot. So yeah, I think, was that a digression? I don't know.
It was okay. It was okay.
I hear you. It's a mutual thing, isn't it? Everyone needs to feel needed and wanted and loved.
Mm-hmm.
No, I get you. I agree. Okay. When should I start expecting more from a romantic relationship, from a romantic situation?
When you say expecting more, what are you referring to?
What cues should I be looking out for? As in, let's say we've been on 3 dates and he hasn't told me yet whether he does like me or can see something with me, or if he'd like to continue or be exclusive or this or that. When should I be waiting for those things, or then feel like, maybe I should ask because he hasn't said anything?
So this is where being confident and understanding what you want comes in. Because let's say, for example, like you said, after 3 dates, he still hasn't pulled your chair out for you. Let's just use that as an example. If that's your standard and he hasn't lived up to that, you're more than welcome to walk away. However, I don't think that should not be a reflection on him as a person, because for him, he might have grown up not knowing that you should be pulling out your chair for your lady, or B, for him that might be date 6 maneuvers. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So you need to be okay with walking away from potential. And that's where confidence in yourself and what you want comes in. Because just because you're walking away from potential it's not a poor reflection on you, because you have set your standards and you're keeping them. And it's not a poor reflection on him because he doesn't understand your standards. However, you need to give at least some kind of hint or inkling towards what your standards are. Because if he is a guy that you could potentially end up with, but your standards are different, for him to have a chance to win your heart and for you guys to eventually be on the same page, he needs to know what the target is. He needs to know what he's aiming for. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. No, definitely. Interesting.
I think immediately when you asked that question, the first thing that came to my mind was the frequency. I think if a guy likes you, he's going to ask to see you more, I think.
Yeah, that's very true.
And so, yeah, I think sometimes the frequency could be indicative of at least him liking you.
Regardless of whether he pulls out the chair or not.
Yeah. But then I think I definitely agree with what Bongani is saying in that sometimes we just have to communicate it, you know?
Yeah.
Obviously, find the right time to mention it. So if after, you know, the second date, he's still not pulling out your chair, or he's, I don't know, made no indication to pay the bill in its entirety, just mention it. So, you know, I feel that for me, pulling out my chair, you know, it's quite romantic. I do like that.
Maybe you mentioned that on the first date.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
Like it's like all things in life, dating is about balance. Sorry, I cut in. Did you have more to say? Sorry. So if there's some hard and fast rules that you want to maintain, then by all means do that. But also understand that whatever if it comes to a point where no one is meeting your standards, you might have to shift them, and I'm not saying you need to settle for any Tom, Dick, or Harry that comes along, but
no, I won't settle.
Hey, girl,
settle for less.
That was the song that came to my head.
And that's fine, but your standards need to be. I feel like saying flexible is a cop-out for the guy, but I don't want it. I'm not saying that you should cop out and lower your standards, but when you have your standards in mind, understand that some people don't reach your standards yet because they don't know those standards, like for whatever reason, or maybe you might need a little wiggle room on your standards.
Willing to adjust your standards?
Yeah. Maybe.
Or be reasonable and understanding with your standards. Try and have standards, but have understanding for people. No one is perfect.
Because sometimes it's a case of they don't know your standards, but once they do, they'll work hard to reach them. Or
that's very true.
Or they'll do something, or they'll work hard and feel that they're doing enough to reach them, but might be missing the mark. So, excuse me. So it's more. It's okay. Sorry. This side of my brain has atrophied because I haven't had to date anyone apart from my wife
for nearly 10
for a
years.
very long time. So I'm trying to think how. I'm a huge advocate for giving people the benefit of the doubt in general. And it's hard, but it's hard. Like
it is really hard.
Like if you have standards and you refuse to budge them, more power to you. Just understand that there'll be more and more difficulty for you to find someone. And holding on to those standards might mean you'll find someone who's perfect for you. Eventually. Having adjustable or a bit of wiggle room on some of your standards may mean you'll meet someone who can eventually become perfect for you. It depends on what you want. Do you want to have someone who's perfect from day dot so you can just go, yes, then we get married? Or do you want to build with someone? Because while they're growing to meet that wiggle room, you might be growing to realize that, oh, actually, the standard I set was either too high or I don't care about it anymore because everything else that this guy has trumps the standards that I had. Does that make sense?
No, it does make sense, but I think I disagree because I think men can do that, but women can't do that. I don't think women can afford to adjust their standards too much because I think women are already very good at being accommodating and understanding and reasonable. Men, not so much. If a woman doesn't have one thing for a man, the man won't look at her twice. And a man, I think women have this built-in thing where it's like where I think we take less time to become ready, you know, and men seem to have all the time in the world and can do whatever they want. And I don't know. I feel like if that is the case, I'm not ready to settle yet because yeah.
But it also depends on
I'm still at that stage where I think boys are stupid, you know? So I'm not ready to settle just yet.
I think I'll say one final thing for me is I think as women, we like projects to our detriment.
Honestly.
And so I felt myself going, no.
Yeah.
When Bo was talking, not to everything, because I think we do need to, I do agree with what you're saying as well, Fari. We're good at compromising, adjusting, readjusting, reevaluating, and that sort of stuff. So it really is about personal preference. So if you feel that there is a standard that you can wiggle a little bit, and if you can see potential towards growth in that from a person, then sure, be a bit more patient, adjust it slightly. But I think we often as women, we like projects and sometimes they don't work out for us.
Yeah.
I think we just, and that boils down to the fact that we're just built different. Okay, here's a question. Did I meet all of your standards? To begin with? Did you have to adjust? You don't have to say which standards, but do you feel like you have to adjust some of your standards? And I'm fine with it. Like,
well, my reaction is more of I can't remember what my standards were. That was so long ago.
This is
true.
My
days. And I think by that point, I didn't really have that many.
You said you had 10.
Wow.
And I ticked all the boxes. I remember you saying that, and then you refused to tell me what the boxes were.
I had 10.
Or was it 9?
Oh, my
Anyway,
days.
But continue.
I mean, I can't remember them, but faith was a big one. I had to be attracted to some part of your body. So your physique had to play a part. A nice smile. A nice smile.
No, but those are all things that...
Exactly. So I'm like, I can't actually remember. I can't remember. Faith was big. And I needed to have some sort of attraction to you. Because there's no point pretending like faith will cover everything, you know? If I'm not attracted to you...
covers a multitude of sins.
Exactly. That's literally what I had in my
ugly.
I mean, I didn't go that far. And I think, you know what, this discussion is so big. We could literally talk about it for hours.
Let's do it.
Of February, literally. But I think, Fari, you've asked some really good questions. And I hope some of our answers have helped to kind of think a bit more about how you would like to date. And hopefully we'll take some stuff into your dating journey when you resume that.
You should ask your brother.
Don't ask your brother. Don't ask him.
You know what? I will actually. That's
I think you should. Because I wouldn't be surprised if he turns around and say we're all talking nonsense.
He will. He'll just come with male comment.
No, he'll just say, don't date. You don't need a boyfriend.
Exactly.
Don't date.
Exactly. But it's been a really good discussion, Fari, and thank you for your questions. And thank you for joining us. Thank you for
Yeah.
being our first guest.
Where can people find you?
On YouTube under the name Internet Proverb. There you go. Thank you for
Awesome.
having me. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey man, let's do this again.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
Don't forget, guys, to comment. Let us know what your moment was in that video. Let us know what your thoughts are. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Did you learn something new today? In general, about Bo and I was gonna say about Fari, but I mean you've only known her for two videos now. But I mean you might have learned something about her.
Yeah.
You're single. Did you see something you like?
You're so determined. But on that note, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Am I doing it?
You got it. I don't know. The camera's on.
Until next time, guys.
Take
Bye.
care.